we're taking a look at Transformers Masterpeice by Takara Tomy, MP-12 Lambor, otherwise known as Sideswipe. This is a original character from the G1 series, and we have now a Masterpeice version of him, which is pretty cool looking. He comes in this very tiny box. It says Transformers Masterpeice. He's licensed by Lamborghini. We have a picture of him in the Lamborghini Countach mode. We have him in his robot mode. Again, this is by Takara Tomy. Come over to this side. You can see Transformers Masterpeice again. Him in his robot mode. Come over here. Same exact thing, just now in the Lamborghini Countach mode. Oh, and come over top here. This is real nice and shiny. Really beautiful packaging. It's MP-12, Cybertron Warrior, Lambor. Flip around back, and you can see some other, well, I guess it's Japanese writing that I can't read. But it says Transformers Masterpeice Lambor. It's him in the car mode, him with MP-10 Optimus Prime, as well as showing that he can fit into the trailer of Optimus Prime, and him here with various weapons that he comes with. And over here, it just shows you everything included with the packaging. Appears to be a very promising figure, and I'm very excited to show this to you guys. But just for a size comparison, here's Lambor's box, and here's a fairly new Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Laserback packaging. As you can see here, it's really a small box for this Masterpeice. So he's a really downscale size figure as compared to the rest of them. But now let's open up Lambor, aka Sideswipe, and see what he's all about. Now, with MP-12 Sideswipe out of his packaging here, we have a beautiful representation of what he was in the G1 series. And that being the Lamborghini Countach, which is an excellent looking car. We got a nice Autobot symbol here. Very nice paint job, except for right here and right here, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, they're not rubber wheels like we get with MP-10, but they're still very nice, even though they are plastic. And they got little engravements on it to really complete that Masterpeice look. He's got really nice taillights. Right here it says Lamborghini, and then over here it says Countach. He's got some tailpipes right here, and it's really tiny here. You probably can't even see this. But right here is a little tiny Lamborghini symbol. And he's got some nice headlights. Now, one thing is, he doesn't come with a license plate, which is fine. I can really deal without that. And right here, you can see, this is one thing that a lot of people really complained about. And that is the very, very difference in reds. As you can see, it just totally is different from the rest of the body. And it even gets darker as it comes down here. And it's not just that side, it's over here as well. Now, specifically on mine, this side is a bit darker than this side. But other than those minor paint mishaps, which are rather unfortunate and disappointing, he is one awesome looking car. Now also, guys, there's also a couple things I wanted to show you. Again, just like the Takara Arms Micron figures, it comes with this little piece of paper here, which I still have yet to understand what it is, and it comes with a little code, so there's that. He also comes with the Masterpeice collector's card. It says MP-12 Cybertron Warrior Lambor, Transformers Masterpeice. You got a nice picture of him there. Flip over to this side. Some more writing I can't read. MP-12. Him in his robot mode, the car mode, and this is his technical data, which you don't know what is each, like the strength, intelligence, all that, but they show you that in the directions, which I'll get to in a second. But very nice and cool card. And again, the directions. Now, you open this little piece of paper up, and we've got all kinds of neat things in here. Starting right off, you go down here. It says Transformers Masterpeice Lambor. It says Lamborghini Countach LP5005 vehicle mode, and I guess that's a read-up for the car. I don't know why there's two different read-ups if that's what it actually is. But it says Lambor again. And it says robot mode. You got a nice picture of him up here. It's Takara Tomy. You got top view, front view, side view, rear view. And then you have the actual car. And it gives you stats here for what it actually is. The length, how wide it is, height, wheelbase, empty weight, torque, top speed. All these cool little stats. As well as over here, you see where his numbers come in now. And then that's where in the Masterpeice card you really figure out what stat is what. And he goes in order 6, 7, 7, 7. 6, 7, 7, 7. So, you know, strength, intelligence, speed, endurance, all that good stuff for you guys. When you come over to this side, you can see, again, his missile launcher that goes on his shoulder. And you can see a picture of him from the show and how you can combine the guns and put it on him. The flare gun, you can see how that is implemented. And then again, the pile drivers. And this is where right here you can see the kind of pile drivers that they're giving us is actually on his hand. I hope you guys can see that, but it's very kind of hard to see. So you go over here, it shows you how to implement them and rotate his fist and such, and another picture of him with them in his hands. And you come around back, and you got all the fun directions and everything it comes with. And even though it's not in English, it's not hard to follow a picture. So very, very cool instructions. Nice Masterpeice card it comes with. And If any of you guys know exactly what this is about the 5th one I've got, not only with Masterpieces, but just with Takara in general, let me know, because it's probably something I'm missing out on. Now also, we have all his accessories, which is the gun right here, which goes on his shoulder. We have his handgun, and then we have 2 pile drivers, which we'll really get into when we do robot mode, but I don't believe there's anywhere on the actual alt mode here to attach them. So you're kind of stuck with those off to the side. As for these right here, they can actually peg into one another. As you can see, there's a little hole in there, and you just simply take the gun, slot that in there, and now this moves forward and back, so kind of be careful when you're plugging this in, because it could slide forward and scratch and ding up the figure, but you don't want to do that. So if you look up here, there's a little square right there. And this is something we haven't seen in a while with figures. The last time we've seen this is probably with the Dark of the Moon figures, to where we covered it up right there, and you could peg it right in, like so, and have it looking very cool like this. Now, it's not the preferred look, but you can store it there. So once you pop that back out, the hole is filled up with that little black spot, which is really kind of cool. Now, for some comparisons, here's MP-12 Sideswipe. And here's a Transformers Prime Takara Tomy AM26 smokescreen, as well as the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Deluxe Wheeljack. But if you have a deluxe Wheeljack figure, even from the regular Prime series, you get a pretty good idea of the size of actually Lambor here. So there's that one. And if you have Knockout as well, you get another good size comparison. He's a pretty tiny car here, but compared to Lambor, you really see the size difference. So he may be a small masterpiece, but he's really a good size, especially when compared to the MP-10 Optimus Prime. And just for another size comparison, here he is with the new Hasbro release of Transformers Masterpiece Optimus Prime. As you can see, he just really looks great with Optimus here. And just one last thing I want to show you guys. If you open these doors up here, and you pull out, I guess, the ramp here, lay that down like that, and we come in here and grab Roller and roll him sort of out, you can now take Sideswipe, and he really doesn't go up there too well because you can see he's not even with the ramp, but you can actually store him in there now, which is pretty freaking cool. I really like that implementation there. But unfortunately, we cannot store Sideswipe and Roller in there at the same time, so it's going to be one or the other. Now, other than that, and these paint application mishaps up here, he does roll really well, and it's just an excellent looking figure and size for Masterpiece Sideswipe. Now, getting on the transformation, these wheels do untab here, but you can just press on them downward and they will flip down like so. Come under here and you can pull this out. Now, you might get a little bit more leverage by undoing this panel to expose his hand and then pull it out, but you can just keep that up like that for now, and you can roll that out. Come under here, do the same thing. Once you do that, untab the roof of the car from the back section, and you can flip that down and pull this back, which is going to start to form the legs. So we'll do that first, but you can untab the chest here to kind of just get a little bit more leeway out of the figure. Once you do that, come down here, separate this, and you're going to want to pull these spoiler pieces back because they're split in half, rotate this down, flip this up just a little bit, come under the foot, and you can separate the heel here. Now that you've done that, come under here, and you're going to see a little tab in here. Just get your fingernail under it, and flip that panel out. Flip this panel down now, and this should all align properly, and tab in. There's a tab right there. I believe there's one or two somewhere in here. Once you do that, you can just slot that in. There's little engroupments for it. Come back here, and flip that over. Now, if you missed all that, we're going to do it again here. You can flip the spoiler out, rotate this down, lift the part of the taillight forward, separate the heel from the foot, come up here, there's a little panel, flip it out, flip this down, tab this all in together. Once you do that, this will line up with the rest of the foot very nicely like so, and then you come back here with the spoiler and just flip that over. And now you pretty much for the most part got the legs done. You can come up top here, there's a little crotch piece right here, we could flip that down. You can come over here, and there's some gears in here, you bend it back, and then you're going to want to bend the other gear right here forward. And when doing so, there's a little tab right here, and there's a little tab hole under the license plate, so that when you bring this down, it'll tab right in. And a lot of people complained about that specific tab and saying that doesn't tabbing too well, and if you just heard that, that was the tab. Mine stays pretty secure and doesn't come loose. So maybe that was just specific issues that certain people had with their Masterpeice Sideswipe here. But anyways, you can take these arms, rotate them around, straighten these limbs out, flip this up, and we can rotate out the hands. Do the same thing over here, rotate this, angle that up, rotate the forearm, open this panel, flip out the fist again. Once you do that, you can come back here to the backpack, and under here you can see these little windows or doors, whatever you want to call them. They're actually windows. You can fold that under, do the same thing with this one, and you kind of want to arc them kind of like this. Now when they're like that, you can lay this flush against the back. Now, it's not the best backpack, but it's not really too bulky. So when you do that, it kind of minimizes the width showing in his back here. So once you've done that now, you come over here, connect the top of his head to the rest of the head, and now we have Sideswipe in his robot mode. And of course, now we have all his accessories. Now there are 2 tab holes right up here and here, which you can take his shoulder cannon, and I prefer to put it on this side because not only is it accurate, but you got this peg hole here. So if you put it on this side, that kind of shows, so that is visible, but it's not too terrible if you wanted to put it on that side. So anyways, you come up here and just peg that right in. Very simple. And your choice whether you want it down or up. I prefer the more classic kind of way, so I'll leave it angled up like that. Then we have his gun. Now on here, if you can see this, there are 2 little kind of tabs sticking out of the back of the handle here. That is for, in each of his hands, are little tiny slots that will allow this gun to slot in. So instead of his hand just really gripping onto the actual thing, you can kind of slot it in almost like a tab. Well, it is a tab pretty much. And we can bring that around. And then we have Sideswipe holding his blaster, which is just freaking cool looking. Really digging this figure. Now also he comes with the accessory of his pile drivers, which people have complained about aren't accurate. But if you looked in the directions that I showed you, like I mentioned before, there's even a photo with him actually using these. They may be kind of tiny and funny looking when they're on him, which I'll show you in a sec, but they're still enjoyable. So all you're going to do is really come over here, and you can, again, open this panel, put the fist in, close that up, and now under here on these pile drivers are little holes inside the plastic, which you're probably seeing very clear right now. And on this side, there's kind of some mold decorating, to where here it's just kind of hollow. So you're going to want each one, and they just kind of have spacings in here, and you just tab them right in. And then now there's a pile driver. So there's one, and you come over here and do the same exact thing. Take the blaster out of his hand, close up the fist, rotate it in. And of course you want the molded decorative side on the outside, so we're going to tab that right in. And now we have Sideswipe with his pile drivers, which doesn't look too terrible either. Again, his pile drivers off, and we'll put Sideswipe off to the side here, and we'll bring in the new release of the Hasbro MP-10 Optimus Prime. And as you can see here, huge size difference between these 2 figures. He really falls in scale now better with the MP-10. And putting this on my shelf like this is going to look absolutely incredible. Now for his articulation, his head can rotate 360 degrees. He can go up and, whoops, split his head. He can go up and down just a little bit, not much, but good enough for me. I don't know if you want to count this as a point of articulation, but that does open up. He doesn't have light piping, as far as I know. I do see some kind of blue in here, but I really don't think that's light piping. I think that's just painted that way. So, as far as I know, there's no light piping. Right here, he can rotate 360 degrees. That can go out on his shoulder and in. He can rotate the bicep 360 degrees. And he's got a lot of hinges really in here that you can manage and work with, like up like that, bend at the elbow, go all the way back at the elbow pretty much, and just nice posability there. He can rotate at the fist 360 degrees, and his fingers can go in and out, but there are no individual finger articulate points in there at all, and that goes for both arms. Now there is waist articulation, and that can go 360 degrees, very nice. He can go out, he can go in, he can minorly like swivel right here, right below the hip. He can bend at the knee. He can't go really forwards at the knee at all, and that's for both legs here. And come down here on his feet, And they're actually able to swivel right here very little. And because of transformation, I mean, you could bend the foot down a little bit, and the heel here is manageable as well. So excellent posability with Sideswipe here, and absolutely digging and loving this Masterpeice figure right here. Now, like I said about the backpack, it is there, and it's not terrible, but it is absolutely noticeable. But getting him back into his Lamborghini Countach mode, first we're going to take off the gun here, and we can put that off to the side. We can open up these panels, flip the fists in, close that up. We can flip this up and down, and kind of rotate this around. Let me see real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, there you go. You want it looking like that. So what that would be is, here's his shoulder, and you had his hand like this. So you want to turn it, angle it inward, like so. Then you want to flip it up, turn the shoulder, and put it up. And now that'll slide in with where that peg hole was for the shoulder cannon. So now that's up like that. And you can do the same thing for the arm over here. Flip that in, close that up, turn this, angle this, put that in. And now you got pretty much the side doors of his car mode done. Open up his head, open up the back, flip out the windows, just like so. And now you can untab this, lift that all the way up, again, hinge that all the way back, and then hinge that down. You should feel it kind of straighten out in there. Once you do that, fix this up a little bit. The doors here are going to separate from time to time during the transformation, so don't worry about that. They'll have to just be pushed together by you when you complete the transformation at the end, because they're the last pieces to go in. But you want to flip up that little crotch piece there, put the heel and the feet together, pull that down just a little bit. That's the part of the taillight for the back of the car. Lift this all the way up, fold the panel in, open up the spoiler in the back, rotate this up, connect it with the rest of the taillight, and it all kind of will even out together once you flip it completely. But again, if you missed that, fold the feet together, flip out the spoiler, separate this just a little bit from this black section, flip this paneling up to cover up the legs, fold that panel in, rotate the whole wheel section around, line up the taillights again, and then you can come around here, and this is where you can kind of bend the waist a little bit, and you want to have this all tabbed in together. So flip this over, and I don't know if you can really see this, you probably can't, but right in here are two tabs, right here and right here, and there's a little tab hole on the bottom of his foot. So once you do this, you can just tab that in, flip this over, and tab that in as well. Now fix this up back here, make sure all these tab in. Oh, and the feet came out anyways. Oh well, we'll do that last then. So we can tab here, there's two tabs here, there's one right here, and then we can tab in the spoiler. So now once you've done all that, bring this up, let those tab in, come back here, there's two tabs right here and here, you can slide those right under there, then come over here and there's two tabs here and here. You can kind of put the arms back just a little bit, slot that in, and then once you do that, you can just bring these over. I'm sorry, putting the arms in there and the door panels is not the last step, that's the second to last. So you put those in, and then there's little tabs right in here, and there's a little tab on the inside of the wheel. Just simply push it up, that'll tab in, that will tab in, and now we have Sideswipe back in his Lamborghini
Now,
mode. 100% guys, this is a must-have figure. He's a bit on the pricey side depending on where you get him, but I think he is absolutely worth it for the G1 collectors out there, or even just regular fans out there that aren't G1. This is a very spot-on car. There's minor things about it that kind of suck, like this little paint up here. I don't know how that happened, but I've seen reviews of people that have this figure, and not everyone's paint job is like that. If you're willing to take that risk, I would absolutely say to pick up this figure. But even with those minor mess-ups on the paint there, he's still a pretty excellent figure to have, and I think you'd be a fool to pass up on him. But that about wraps it up for me, guys. Stay tuned for more giveaways. Stay tuned for more reviews of your favorite Transformers. And once again, this is Mr. TF Prime, and I want to thank you for watching.